Why can't I just be a normal person? Throw away ACCBC, I don't want this on my main. I know this is a safe place to vent, but I still feel like I need to apologize for being so rambly and all over the place. I'm a female in my 20s, and my whole life I felt like something within or about me has been inherently off or different, or like something is wrong with me. I realize that a lot of people have potentially felt this way, and it's probably a somewhat universal experience to not feel like you fit in or that you're different to an extent. But for me, it's been like this inherent disconnect with the world and especially people around me. But if I'm just being overdramatic or not. I've always been a very painfully anxious and shy person and struggled severely with diagnosed depression and anxiety as a teenager. My dad has autism. Well, my mom told me it was Asperger's, but I've heard that it's not good to use that term. And my mom is also quite an anxious person, so while I love them both to pieces and I'm very close to them both, I didn't really talk to my parents a lot about my struggles because they didn't think anything was wrong other than usual growing pains. Growing up, I had almost no friends and was homeschooled, so I didn't have an opportunity to meet kids my age other than when there were homeschool meetups, and even then I was bullied a lot, so I just withdrew into myself. I either talked too much about my interests and put people off of me, or I didn't talk enough and was just the shy girl. As an adult, I still struggle with anxiety and depression, and I also feel things very deeply. I'm a very sensitive and emotional person, but I struggle with others' emotions, and maybe that's why people don't warm to me. I try to be very kind and understanding, though, but it's not always received that way. Recently, I had an issue in my relationship where my partner was upset about something related to his work, and I tried to help him feel better, but he said I will take a very literal and logical standpoint and try to fix the issue rather than be there emotionally. Despite me being a sensitive and emotional person, I struggle to understand when it is appropriate to be logical and fix it and when to just be there more supportively. And while he's really amazing and understanding and will try to tell me what he needs, I just feel so useless and like I should know better. I've also gone my entire life also being told that it's the way you say it or it's the tone you use, also comments about my facial expression. When I don't mean anything negative or bad with my tone or expression, and I find those phrases tend to just make me want to shut down, or I get really angry and upset because I just don't know why everything I say or do just ends up coming out wrong. I can't tell my own tone, and I don't know how to fix it, and it's been a consistent negative thing that's happened in a lot of my friendships/relationships. My mom used to tell me it all the time when I was a child, and I never understood what was so wrong with how I had said something, and she would refuse to elaborate. Or she would imitate what I said, but in my head it didn't sound anything at all like how she repeated it back to me. I also don't understand sarcasm and tend to take things very literally, which is embarrassing for me and frustrating for others to have to explain to me. I'm trying my best to learn more about tone so I can be a better person, but it's so hard. I also struggle with group structure or conversations, which makes work really stressful sometimes. I don't understand how others can so easily fit in with the flow of conversation or know when it's their turn to talk. I always end up just speaking up either at the wrong time or when people have pretty much moved on and it ends up feeling awkward or uncomfortable, so I just stay quiet. I also feel like I must know what the expected or right way of doing something is before I do it, particularly in social situations. I also pay a lot of attention to how others react and respond to try and keep it in mind for if I'm ever in a situation similar and need to know what to say or how to say it. So in one sense, while I find social situations really difficult to navigate, I can also fake it in a way that makes me just pass, although sometimes I feel like people see through me and know that I'm not very good at it. TBH, I generally try to avoid a lot of social stuff and events because it's just too overwhelming. Like I feel completely drained and exhausted after any kind of social interaction. I need to know weeks in advance if I've got any kind of social outing before it happens so I can mentally and emotionally prepare and be ready for it. And it takes me days and sometimes weeks to recover to feel well enough to do anything similar again. I figured it was just social anxiety or introversion, but as I've gotten older, I just struggle more and more with this fatigue, and the only social interaction is if I'm at work, and then the rest of the time I try and just stay at home. Thankfully, my partner is also a homebody and he's understanding, but I feel bad for not being a more fun, outgoing kind of person, and I wonder whether my life would be more different if I unlocked the secret to being a great socializer and could hang out with others with more ease and comfort. I also depend severely on routine and structure, I'm trying to work on this in therapy, and I find things being changed suddenly, my train running late when I'm on my way home, or a sudden spontaneous interaction/event happening with little to no warning or notice makes me extremely stressed, but I don't really know why I'm like this. It's even worse if I have an appointment at a set date and time, and then the day of, something changes or it's moved. I wish I could be more chill about it, but I just feel like it's impossible when it's so jarring. It makes me really anxious, and I don't know how to regain control over my emotions when it happens. I know it's ridiculous, and even my colleague told me it's not normal to be so rigid. I'm so sick of not knowing what's wrong with me. I feel so stupid. Why is it so hard to just be a normal person? Why can't these things just come easily and naturally to me? Is it just me? How do I change to be a better person? I feel so self-conscious all the time.